सब ठीक ठाक है। तो इंशाल्लाह यहाँ पे से शुरू करते हैं। या बनी इसराइल, so this will be 6th ruku, I believe.
6th ruku, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين. واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون. وإذ نجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب يذبحون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم وفي ذلكم بلاء من ربكم عظيم. وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون. وإذ واعدنا موسى 40 ليلة ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون. ثم عفونا عنكم من بعد ذلك لعلكم تشكرون. وإذ آتينا موسى الكتاب والفرقان لعلكم تهتدون. وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم إنكم ظلمتم أنفسكم باتخاذكم العجل فتوبوا إلى بارئكم فاقتلوا أنفسكم ذلكم خير لكم عند بارئكم فتاب عليكم إنه هو التواب الرحيم وإذ قلتم يا موسى لن نؤمن لك حتى نرى الله جهرة فأخذتكم الصاعقة وأنتم تنظرون ثم بعثناكم من بعد موتكم لعلكم تشكرون وظللنا عليكم الغمام وأنزلنا عليكم المن والسلوى كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم وما ظلمونا ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون وإذ قلنا ادخلوا هذه القرية فكلوا منها حيث شئتم رغدا وادخلوا الباب سجدا وقولوا حطة نغفر لكم خطاياكم وسنزيد المحسنين فبدل الذين ظلموا قولا غير الذي قيل لهم فأنزلنا على الذين ظلموا رجزا من السماء بما كانوا يفسقون صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغ رسوله النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Jazakallah, brother Faiz. MashaAllah, very good recitation. So today, the ruku we are going to start, it is continuing the description of Bani Israel. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that remember that favors, special favors, I bestowed upon you and I preferred you over other people. So what does that mean? It means that after Ibrahim alayhi salam, all the prophets that came was from the Bani Israel, the children of Ishaq alayhi salam. And that was a preference that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose, that Allah choose from the Israel or Yaqub alayhi salam, that the prophet that came from him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, is reminding them of وَاتَّقُوا لَا تَجْزِي نَفْسًا عَنْ نَفْسٍ شَيْئًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the day of judgment in which there will not be an intercession from anybody except and no compensation will be accepted from another person. And fear that day. Because why they have to fear that day? Because all the prophets that came before Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they said that, when the last prophet come, be obedient to him, be, obedient to them and listen to them. So, but when the time of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, they broke their oath that they did to their own prophet, to Musa alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam and all the previous prophets. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, that brings us another thing, that intercession or any recommendation. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing that there will not be any compensation except, like, in those time, people could just compensate for a blood money or something. But in the day of judgment, there would not be any compensation accepted, except everybody will be saying nafsi, nafsi, okay, save me, save me, save me. And all the people, like a father would not care about his son, that he's saved from the hellfire, or a son would not care about his father, wife would not care about husband. All these worldly things that we know about, all the relationship will be nullified. But among all this self echo, there will be one voice heard, and that will be ummati, ummati, and that would be the voice of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that he will intercede on the behalf of his nation or on behalf of his ummah. So this is a special blessing Allah Subhanahu wa Taala did for all his special Habib, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because all the nations will go to the respective Nabi and pleaded with them, go, intercede on our behalf. And all the prophets will, decline that. And finally, they will come to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will intercede, and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will grant Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Maqam Mahmud, a special status that he will be allowed to intercede for his nation. And he will intercede for the people who followed him, who believed in him, who loved him. And now this topic is continued with Bani Israel. وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَسُومُكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is reminding them that we've saved you from the torment of Pharaoh. And here the word Al Pharaoh is in. So Maulana Sahib is also describing the word Al. Al is generally understood or misunderstood as children. But we all know that Pharaoh did not have any children. So what this is, Al Pharaoh means the people who are the followers of Pharaoh, the people who are in the troops of Pharaoh. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is reminding Bani Israel that how did he save Bani Israel. Those Bani Israel, they used to inflict a very bad torment or punishment to Bani Israel by stopping their sons and leaving their daughters alone. And among that, there was a severe test from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So what was this practice? First of all, we want to discuss how did Bani Israel ended up in Egypt. Their original one, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had two sons, Ismail alayhi salam and Ishaq alayhi salam. So he gave the land of Hijaz or the Makkah Sharif to Ismail alayhi salam, his older son. And then he gave the land of Palestine and Syria. At that time, it was called Canaan, to Ishaq alayhi salam. And his progeny lived in that area. That can be called Canaan, Palestine, or Syria. So that in the Yusuf alayhi salam, when his brothers tricked him and put him in they got jealous of Yusuf alayhi salam and they put him in a well. So Jibreel alayhi salam came in that well and saved him. And then he was able to survive in that well for a few days. After that, one caravan was coming, so they rescued Yusuf alayhi salam from that well, and they went to Egypt and they sold him as a slave. And Yusuf alayhi salam ended in the very wealthy advisor of a king of that time. So that was Aziz-e-Misr, or the Grand Wazir, or the chief minister of that. And after that, when the Pharaoh died, and the next young Pharaoh came, he saw it. And Yusuf alayhi salam, who was expert, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him a special knowledge of interpreting dreams. So he interpreted the dream for Pharaoh when he saw 7 skinny cows eating up 7 fat cows. So that was a dream. Nobody at that time, Egyptians believe in the dream interpretation a lot, but none of his advisors or none of his dream interpreters could interpret the dream. But Yusuf al-Islam correctly interpreted the dream that you will have 7 years of prosperity in Egypt and then 7 years of drought. And when Pharaoh asked, so what can I do about it? So he said that bring a big silos of grain and save the grains in this years of prosperity. So your lean years or your drought years, you can survive that. And that's why Pharaoh at that time held Yusuf al-Islam in a high esteem, and he converted to the religion of Yusuf al-Islam. And this is the same religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent different times through different prophets. So he converted to the monotheism and Islam on Yusuf al-Islam. But later on, what happened, that the children of all his brothers, because of this excellent service to the Egypt, Pharaoh became not only Muslim, but he became a very fond of Yusuf al-Islam. So Yusuf al-Islam requested that his brothers and his parents will be allowed to come and live in Egypt. So Yaqub al-Islam, his other brothers, they all came and started living in Egypt. But what happened in the latter days, the Egyptian royal family, they converted back to their old religion and they became mushrik again. And the status of Bani Israel, they were brought in the highest to Egypt because of Yusuf al-Islam, but their status had been reduced to just laborer and slave. So they were outcast and they were held in very low status in Egypt, and they were used as laborers, slaves, all that. And the Egyptian aristocrats used to do the population control of Bani Israel or the children of Israel by slaughtering some of their sons, so their population do not overgrow. And also, the time when Musa alayhi salam was born, so one of the sorcerer predicted that to the Pharaoh that a boy will be born in Bani Israel that will end your empire and your kingdom. So at that year particularly, they used to do that anyway for the population control. But that year Pharaoh ordered that all the male boys that are born in Bani Israel should be slaughtered. So that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that it was a severe punishment or severe test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَيَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابَ وَيَسْبِحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ. So this word yastahiyuna means they used to save their daughters. We have earlier read this word yastahi. So it has two meanings in it. Yastahi means to save, or also means to shy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he described that Allah is not shy away from describing mosquito or something beyond that, this is the word yastahiyuna. And then we move forward. وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. So finally, a time came that because of tyranny of Pharaoh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave permission to Musa alayhi salam that you can go, and the promised land of their ancestors, that was land of Canaan in Palestine, you can go there. So Musa alayhi salam gathered all his people, all the Bani Israel, and he started marching toward Canaan. And when he crossed the river Nile, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala parted that, and he was able to cross that. And when the Pharaoh and with his troops, he tried to follow, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again, what he had done was parted the river. Then he again got it flowing, and that's how the Pharaoh got drowned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَاكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. Here again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the word ala. Ala means those people who are associated with Pharaoh. It is not children, because Pharaoh did not have any children to begin with. And we proceed, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَإِذْ وَعَدْنَا مُوسَى أَرْبَعِينَ لَيْلَةً ثُمَّ اتَّخَذْتُكُمُ الْعِجْلَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. And we promised Musa alayhi salam 40 nights. So what was those 40 nights? But that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him Musa alayhi salam cross the river Nile, and he went to the east side of the river Nile. And when he was crossing, and when he went to the Tur, which is in the part in Palestine and Egypt area, the mount there. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summoned Musa alayhi salam on the Mount Tur, and he told them to meditate or do the chilla for 40 days. And after that, he granted him the Torah, the book of Torah. So at the time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given the revelation to Musa alayhi salam and had given him the miracle of Yad Baza, or the shining hand, the miracle of staff, that he had a staff and he could, through that, there were tokens of, miracles Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him. But the book was revealed when he left Egypt, and Mount Sinai, the Kohetur, he was summoned for 40 days, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Musa salam meditate 40 days. After that, he was given the book Torah. But what happened, and now I would like to reflect that what is this 40 days and why is it still practiced? Because a lot of Sufis, what they do is they do go for chilla. They go in seclusion and they reflect on the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is do zikr, do du'as. So why is that they have to isolate themselves? And this is called qalwat. Because and what is this 3 days or 40 nights? Why they do that? Because they say that Maulana Abdul Siddiqi Saheb saying that to elevate yourself spiritually, you have to isolate yourself and do the zikr, especially with the guidance of your murshid, and that revealed the new knowledges for you. Sheikh Muhyiddin Arabi had reflected more about on that what should you do, that when you go on seclusion or khalwat, there are particular zikrs or the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala people chant by zikring, and they open the lot of knowledges. First, knowledge of all the stones or the earth, and then all the knowledges of flowers and all the fruit, and then after that, so he described the whole process. But this is a short thing. Concept of that is also in the itikaf, when in the last 10 days you cut off whole worldly things and dedicate yourself to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first revealed Quran Sharif, so Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he started, like by nature, he became very much aloof. Like he lost interest in social interaction with people, and he started to cave Hira, and that's when Quran was revealed. And so this is the thing that I briefly reflect, that in order to understand and elevate yourself spiritually, khalwat is a practice that a lot of scholars of this practice, especially it is done for 40 days. And itikaf did for 10 days, but the last itikaf that Nabi Muhammad did, he did it for 20 days. So what is the significance of 10, 20 days or 40 days? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, but different scholars have described it differently, and they have especially recommended a 40-day chilla or the itikaf, to elevate yourself. And another thing that one of the converts to Islam, Baba Ali, he's an American, he converted to Islam, and he gave a point which is relevant. He point out why a lot of people convert to Islam in jail. And he said that you are isolated from the social life, and it gives you time to reflect on the meaning of life, the meaning of existence, and a lot of things. So Islam is deen haq. So people, when they are off from the worldly attractions and distractions, so people can reflect more on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and eventually find. So this is just a point I was trying to make. So what did, but Musa alayhi salam, he went for chill for 40 days, and after that he was given a Torah. And when he left this town, when he was already in the town, so what he did, he made vice regent his brother, Aaron, or Harun alayhi salam, to look after the people. What did they do? There was a one person, magician named Samri. He was an evil person. And I do not know what happened, but a lot of scholars and historians say that when children of Israel, when they escaped from Egypt and finally entered the promised land of Canaan, they had a lot of wealth. How did they have a lot of wealth? Maybe when Pharaoh drowned, so they had all kind of gold and silver and all that. They up and all. So one evil person was Samari. He was a sorcery, magic was very prevalent in ancient Egypt. So he had that skills that brought with Israel into this new land. And what he did, when Musa alayhi salam went to the Tur Mount, what he did, from all the that Bani Israel had it, so he crafted a calf, and he was able to set up a mechanism, because he had some kind of knowledge when he saw that when Jibril descended in this earth and on his horse, where he would gallop, so the hoofs of Jibril salam, wherever it fall, it will produce some greenery in it, or some. So he gathered all that, and when he crafted, and when he made this calf made out of silver and gold, he was able to do something. So he could put the voice of a calf, ma, ma, something like that. And all the Israel, he invited them and say that Musa, he went to the tomb and he is busy down there. Meanwhile, pray to this because it has a miraculous quality. It can make sound of a calf. So a big number of Bani Israel, they went astray and started worshipping this calf made of gold and silver. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, wa antum zalimun, of course, were very transgressive. Summa afuna ankum min ba'di zalika la'allakum tashkurun. And after that, we forgive you so that you can thank. So, what happened, even that when Musa alayhi salam came, and he became very furious at his brother Aaron. He said, I left you in charge of these people, and how come somebody was able to make a calf and people start worshipping? So Aaron said that in the best of my ability I tried to stop them, but they would not listen, and there was a point came that they were about to kill Aaron or hurt Aaron, so he was able to back off. But Musa alayhi salam was not very happy with that. So he even grabbed Aaron alayhi salam, or Harun alayhi salam, with his hair and pull his hair. That what did you do? Why did you fulfill your duty as a vice regent? So anyway, those people, Bani Israel, who came out of Egypt, they were 12 big tribes. And what happened? Those people, it is not. Maulana Sahib is also warning people not to quote to the Bani Israel text, because it has been tampered, it has been altered with. So only what is described in Quran, we accept that, or the hadiths, because this thing, the 12 tribe, it is also supported by Quran. 12 different kind of Bani Israel groups came with Islam out of Egypt. But another thing is, according to Israeli scriptures, what they did, each tribe who had those people who astray and started worshiping the calf. So each tribe chief was made to kill the people who had started worshipping the calf. But it is not supported by Quran. So we would, in Quran, only mention is that they had made a calf, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had condemned that, and after that had forgiven them. So there's no mention of slaughtering those people at astray. So Bismillah. وَإِذْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ وَالْفُرْقَانَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. And until that, they did not have any, until Musa alayhi salam to the Tur, he did not have any book. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he granted him a book and a Furqan. Furqan is like a criterion. I would use the word criterion because we have different criteria of good and bad. But Furqan is a criterion that provides the criteria of what is good, and because different cultures and different group of people would have. So this is right from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's giving a Furqan, means through this you can differentiate between good and bad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Torah. And all the previous, this remind what the previous textures were. The Musa was given the Torah. Isa alayhi salam was in Injil. And Dawud alayhi salam, who was in between Musa alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam, he was given the Zabur. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he revealed the final message through Quran, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had incorporated all the previous scriptures in Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, instead of Torah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam Surah Al-Fatiha, which is equivalent to Torah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Surah Maida, which is equivalent to Injil, what was given Isa alayhi salam. And Dawud alayhi salam, he was given the Zabur. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed all the surahs that start with Hamim to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these Hamims are equivalent to all the Zabur text. So this was the first of the thing that was given to. So it goes on. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ يَا قَوْمِ إِنَّكُمْ زَلَمْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ بِقَازِكُمُ الْإِجْلَةِ. And O you people of Israel, indeed you made a grave by making calf your فَتُوبُوا إِلَى بَارِئِكُمْ. So repent before Allah, before your Creator, and فَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, and sacrifice yourself. It's a symbolic meaning. It means, okay, like, repent in such a way that, just like a very humble way. ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, and that is better for you, in the بَارِئِكُمْ, in the eyes of your Creator. فَبَا عَلَيْكُمْ, so subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave them, إِنَّهُ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. And of course, and without doubt, he is very forgiving and merciful. وَإِذْ قُلْتُ يَا مُوسَى لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرًا. And when you told Musa alayhi salam that we would believe in you unless we see Allah with our own eyes, jahratan means in a manifest way. فَأَخَذَتْكُمْ صَاعِقَةٌ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. So the lightning got you, struck you, and you were witnessing that. So what they did, that this is the very bad attitude by Bani Israel. They told Musa alayhi salam, we will not believe in you, that you are prophet of Allah, unless we saw God with our own eyes. And now many things happen. Sheikh Abdul Jilani, he described that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Zahir and Batin. Zahir means it is manifest, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is manifest. And he described it, says that worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is manifest. That, every bird you see, every all things we see, all the living things we around see, all the heavens we see, all the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is manifest in that. Workmanship of Allah. So, that makes you think that whatever you see around it, there could be a creator for that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also batin, means hidden. So the Allah himself is hidden, but his workmanship is very manifest. But through their naive thing, that they say we will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our own eyes. That was not possible. Human eyes are not capable of seeing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when they insist that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, struck them with lightning, and that God killed all of them. So never seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they could not even tolerate a manifest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala greatness with lightning, and that killed them all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through his mercy, revived them. and you were witnessing that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Summa ba'asnakum min ba'di mawtikum lakum tashkurun. And He revived you after your death, so you became thankful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now is describing Zalla alaykumul ghamama wa anzal alaykumul manna was salwa. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the shade of the clouds, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descended manna and salwa on you. And this is the pure food that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave a special gift to Bani Israel. So you didn't hurt us, but rather hurt yourself by being unthankful to that. So what happened that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were crossing the big desert, escape from Egypt into their promised land of Canaan. So what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them with the shade of clouds, and also them provide food for them. What is that? Some people have described it that a special birds were them, they could hunt them and eat them, and there was some kind of thing that they would always make like a pita, and that was manna and salva. But what they did, they were not even thankful for that. So in the later ayahs you will hear, they say that how can we live on just one food every day? So they were not thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا ادْخُلُوا هَٰذِهِ الْقَرْيَةَ فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمْ رَغَدًا وَادْخُلُوا الْبَابَ سُجَّدًا وَقُولُوا حِطَّةٌ نَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ خَطَايَاكُمْ وَسَنَزِيدُ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. So after this cross the desert and everything, when the promised land was reached, and they say that when you enter this promised land, so when you go there, it was a good land because nobody to prosecute you, nobody to slaughter your son, everything. But Musa alayhi salam told his people that eat from wherever you want and however you want. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told that to Musa alayhi salam. And say a word, hittatun. Hittatun means to forgive us. That was, so hittatun forgive us our mistakes, because they did a lot of mistakes. First they made a calf, then they insist that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came to them and we can see them unless we see them. So these were all the mistakes and all the rebellious thing they did, and they were not thankful to the manna or salva Allah ta'ala descended from the sky to them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is describing all the ni'mats, all the special favors, and saying that when you go to this promised land, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what happened? فَبَدَّلَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا قَوْلًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي قِيلَ لَهُمْ. So those people among them who were mischievous or the astray people, they changed the word. So this was the word that was given to them, hittatun. So they changed the word, that means forgiveness, or grant us the forgiveness. Instead of that, they use a similar word, which I don't remember now. That means the grain, or the not grain, the grain of wheat. So that was, so they thought it was they are making maazallah of that word. Instead of saying forgive us, they said give us wheat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they brought the wrath Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a punishment this time. Allah was very forgiving when He forgave them for being a calf, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive them for insisting that we want to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our own eyes before we believe in Musa alayhi salam. And then finally, when they changed the word that was taught to them by Musa alayhi salam, so Allah ta'ala's wrath came from the sky, and because they were transgressors. So inshallah we will leave it in that, and inshallah any comments or any questions, inshallah we'll pick up with that. Brother Mansoor, any question?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। माशाल्लाह बहुत अच्छा तालिब है। علی بھائی ایک چیز اس میں میرے کو سوال آیا اس کے بارے میں، علی بھائی فرعون،
السلام علیکم.
جی وعلیکم السلام. فرعون حضرت
آپ کی
یوسف
آواز کٹ گیا.
جی جی علی بھائی اب آ رہی ہے، علی بھائی صاف آ رہی. ہلو حضرت آواز آ رہی ہے
کسی وجہ سے کنیکشن میں دقت ہے شاید.
جی
اچھا پھر اس کو اگر کمیونیکیشن میں ہو رہی تو ہم اس کو دعا ختم کرتے ہیں. اعوذ باللہ الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الحمد للہ رب العالمین الرحمن الرحیم مالک یوم الدین ایاک نعبد و ایاک نستعین اہدنا الصراط المستقیم صراط الذین انعمت علیہم غیر المغضوب علیہم ولا الضالین. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم قل هو اللہ احد اللہ الصمد لم یلد ولم یولد ولم یکن له کفوا احد. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم قل هو اللہ احد اللہ الصمد لم یلد ولم یولد ولم یکن له کفوا احد. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم قل هو اللہ احد اللہ الصمد لم یلد ولم یولد ولم یکن له کفوا احد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال سيدنا محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللہ ہم نے جو قرآن شریف پڑھا ہے اللہ تعالیٰ اس کو قبول فرما، اللہ تعالیٰ پہ رحم فرما، کرم فرما. اللہ تعالیٰ ہم نے جو کچھ قرآن پڑھا ہے اس کا ایصال ثواب حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کو پہنچ کے، ان کے تمام اہل بیت کرام، تمام صحابہ کرام کو پہنچ کے، سیدنا حضرت ابوبکر صدیق، عمر فاروق، عثمان غنی، حضرت علی اللہ کو، جو حضرت امام حسین کو پہنچ کے، امام علی زین العابدین، حضرت امام محمد باقر، حضرت امام جعفر، حضرت موسیٰ کاظم، حضرت امام علی رضا، حضرت محمد تقی، حضرت امام علی نقی، حضرت حسن نصری، امام محمد مہدی پہنچ کے، حضرت کبیر احمد رفاعی کو پہنچ کے، تمام بزرگان چشت، حضرت خواجہ عثمان حروانی، حضرت خواجہ معین الدین چشتی، حضرت بابا بختیار کا کہ، حضرت بابا فرید، حضرت صابر پیا، حضرت نظام الدین اولیاء، حضرت امیر خسرو، حضرت نصیر الدین چراغ دہلوی، حضرت خواجہ گیس الدراز بندہ نواز کے، حضرت خواجہ محمد سے محبوب اللہ، مولانا عبد القادر صدیقی صاحب قبلہ، موسیٰ پاشا کو پہنچ کے، ڈاکٹر ضیاء الحق صاحب کو قبلہ کو پہنچ کے، سید قدس قاضی بشیر صاحب قبلہ پہنچ کے، پیر یزدانی صاحب پہنچ کے، خاص و خاص غوث اعظم دستگیر پینانی پیر کو پہنچ ان کے فیض اللہ تعالیٰ ہمارے علم میں اضافہ فرما. ربی زدنی علما ربی زدنی علما. اللہ تعالیٰ ہم کو اچھا قرآن پڑھنے، اس میں عمل کرنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائے. تو منصور آپ پھر کیجیے اگر کچھ کچھ صاف ہوا ہو.